Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So we're gonna go back to what my videos were kind of about since I kind of test drived the last two videos. So thank you for all the questions and the conversations that we were able to have and the support. It wasn't the best. I can fully admit that, and one day maybe I will redo it, but for now it's gonna stay there. So by the topic, well, I should say that by the topic of this video, it's an interesting one because everybody experiences differently. So the title of this video is PTSD. So I am not gonna sit here and give, like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know it all, because I don't. And people react differently to it and deal with it differently in different situations. So what is it? It's post-traumatic stress disorder. So basically, it's a psychological thing that happens to you if you experience any trauma, like severe trauma. So like, I'm just gonna look at a list here. So it says people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event such as a natural disaster, a serious accident, a terrorist attack, war, combat, sexual violence, or abuse, or serious injury, or who have been threatened with death. That's basically a lot to take in. And like I said, everybody experiences differently, so I'm not going to sit here and go all clinical on you. I am just going to share with you, there we go, my experience with it. So right off the bat, guys, I'm going to tell you, for the longest time, I would not accept that this was a thing for me. Not that I was ashamed of it or anything. It's just that I didn't think I deserved, not the title. I don't want to say that because that sounds douchey, but, and I don't want to say like, oh, and out. But again, this is just my mortality. I have no disrespect for anybody dealing with this. This is just my mortality that I was thinking back before I kind of wrapped my head around it. It's just that I didn't think what I went through was severe enough. Like, I didn't think that I amounted to kind of have that exclamation for myself. And what I mean is by this is like, I knew that PTSD didn't necessarily mean, oh, you went to war and came back and that's what you have. I knew that you can get it for different things. I just thought, well, I went through 5 years of trauma with 6 abusers and with all the abuse that I got from the school and stuff. And I was like, oh, people have gone through way worse stuff than me for way longer. Like, I'm just messed up. Like, it was my fault. Like, I deserve to feel this way. And it took me a long time to kind of just come to terms with this. So when I got diagnosed with anxiety and depression, my doctor linked it to PTSD. So through it's very hard to explain because, like I said, everybody deals with PTSD differently. So for me, I have anxiety and depression, and I have triggers, and for me, it is very not easy to kind of like work with. Some days is really shitty, but it's hard. It is hard to deal with the nightmares and the trauma that came with everything that I went through. I used to just shrug it off and be like, people have been through way worse. Like, I wasn't comparing situations. I just thought that I didn't deserve to I don't know, get help. That was my kind of logic back then. And I started to realize when I got, medication for my anxiety and depression. Again, not for everybody. Many people can deal with this without medication, and some people need medication. I'm just one of those people that need medication to help sort out everything. It's not a cure for it by any means. It just kind of helps, I want to say take the edge off, because that sounds kind of like you're doing drugs, like that type of thing. It just kind of helps me balance everything. But yeah, it's very hard to explain for somebody that doesn't go through it, or somebody that sees somebody going through it and they're just like, I don't know what to do. And there's not an easy way to say, oh, this is what you need to do, because again, every situation is different. Everybody handles it differently. For me, I can't be in large groups or crowds. I start freaking out. That's kind of like one of my main triggers. And not that I go screaming, running out. It's just I get very uncomfortable. I want to just disappear. Like I've explained in other videos, like I literally look for the exits at all places I go to. Like I as soon as I go in there, I have to look and figure out where the exits are, like where is the least unnoticeable place I can go to so nobody will see me, that type of thing. Or I have to like get in and out really quick. That's just PTSD from everything I went to deal with in high school, especially like with the large groups and crowds and noises. I literally start freaking the fuck out. Like I literally have to, like, it's almost like I have to nail my feet to the ground. And it was a lot worse in the beginning, and I've learned to kind of breathe through it, just kind of like talk to people, listen to music if I'm alone. But on my really bad days, it's really shitty, guys. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. And I'm not gonna lie, part 2 of my video series that I just finished doing, when we were talking about, opinions, and when I kind of shared my experience with getting those death threats. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please watch part 2 of the videos that I just filmed before this one. I'm not gonna lie, I did get triggered. By no means is it your guys' fault, not at all. Like, I really appreciated the questions and I wasn't scared to answer it, but I just didn't realize how much it would affect me. But I'm okay. Like, it kind of just triggered me a little bit of like, holy shit. Like, I didn't face that part. I kind of buried that for a long time. And I really didn't tell anybody that before. And just talking about it again kind of just, got brought up some stuff. But you know what? I was able to take a deep breath, take a day, kind of work through that, and then come on here and talk about it. Because I know that some people wanted me to do some videos on this, on PTSD. And I also wanted to do videos on it because it's interesting to kind of learn about and listen to somebody's experience, because again, everybody's experiences it differently. Yeah, I get night terrors. I get really bad nightmares. To the point where like I'm up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just like I can't go back to sleep, or like I'm sweaty, or I feel like there's an elephant sitting on my chest. And that kind of like brings me into a whole panic attack. And then, I have to like breathe through it, work through it. And like I either read, write, listen to music, watch a show, and then go back to bed. some days I can't get back to bed, but that's okay. I mean, again, like, not every day is gonna be rainbows and butterflies. And, just because you talk about your trauma and work through your trauma doesn't mean it's not gonna affect you. Like, oh, I talked about it, everything's rainbows and butterflies now. No. I mean, it's still gonna affect you. Maybe not as bad or as often as it did before, but it's still gonna be there. Just to, like, kind of knock on your window to remind you that it's there, because it likes to do that. The anxiety, I'm really good at, like, putting pressure on myself, which is fine. Like, I'm good with that, and I'm good with, like, helping everybody and kind of being, like, that solid board that everybody can come to and talk to, especially with my family. Like, I have a lot of responsibility within my family, and that's okay. But sometimes it's on shaky ground. Like, some days, like, I don't want to get out of bed, and that's my depression, but I have to, like, put on that painted face and act like everything's okay, because there are members of my family that are older or just don't understand it, and it's just, you don't want to scare them with this, because they are older, and you don't, it's hard for them to understand, and in certain situations you just can't explain it. So you do kind of have to act like you're okay and that everything is fine, when basically you're screaming in the inside. Those days where I don't eat, or those days that I overeat, sorry, choking on my own spit here. There are days where I just don't feel like I have anything together, and that everything is falling apart, and then I start crying for no goddamn reason. And I'm not a crier, guys. I'm not saying there's anything bad about being a crier, but, like, when I reach my breaking point, like, I full on, like, just waterworks, the snot. It's a sexy mess. Just, oh yeah. And it's just, it's a lot sometimes, and then you have to kind of, like, take a breath after that, and then rebuild yourself, and carry on. And that sounds very unhealthy, and to an extent, I mean, it can be. But then again, there's only so much you can do, and especially now with COVID, again, there's only so much you can do, right? And a lot of things are out of your hands, and this trauma. So basically, it's been over a decade since I started through the trauma, and have been out of it. So, like, it's a lot. It's a lot to, like, be like, okay, sitting 10 years here and, like, I have my whole life figured out. No, I can't do that. I can't bullshit you. I'm not gonna do that. There are so many life turns and twists and bumps, and it's just, it can be a lot. And, it's a lot for anybody to deal with. And then to add it on top of, like, mental health, it's so shitty. And then I'm not comparing it to anybody's situation, because some people are really good at handling situations like this, right? It's just, for me, it's not, there are days when, like, I'm having a really, really bad episode, and I just get so angry and frustrated, and, like, I do the whole, like, I get angry at myself. It's like, come on, like, this is bullshit. Like, grow up. Like, you've been, like, it's been years. Like, figure it out, type of thing. And then, like, I ask myself, like, this is so unfair. Like, what did I do to deserve this, right? And, like, the million questions, like, come in, and it's bad. It's really, really bad when you get stuck in that hole. And it gets worse when you don't have the support. Guys, I'm not saying that I don't have any support. I'm not saying that. It's just, I have I have a lot of groups in my life. Like, so I have people that, for one reason or another, can't understand it, right? there's just, there's that age gap, or there's just other things that have been going on. So you have to act like everything's okay. Then you have those people in your life that can help other people or be there for other people, but they can't be there for me with my mental health, if that makes sense. And then I have people that are just too busy with their lives, and then they come in and kind of critique everything in my life, and tell me what I'm doing wrong, or, what I need to be doing better. I need to be a better person, right? Then I have those people that are just, they don't know what to do or say, so they always ask me what they should do. Like, I don't know, just be there, like, I guess. And then I got those people, like, that I have to take care of them, right? So, like, I can't be down or whatever. Like, I have to be there for them because they're very, I don't want to say needy, but they can't handle it or can't deal with it. Like, they know it's there and they accept it, but it's just, it's kind of finding that balance, right? And, I do have some people in my life that do understand it, and, they want me to talk about it. They want to be there, even on the bad days, With my PTSD, I had to we learn a lot of things. So for touching, for example, like for the simple, like, handshake or hug or, like, poke on the shoulder, like, I didn't freak out, but I physically used to tense and want to puke. That just comes with the trauma. I wouldn't necessarily call it a trigger. I mean, I guess I would, but some people would. But that's just the trauma coming out. So I had to relearn all of that, right? I had to relearn that touching doesn't have to, I know how that sounds, how touching doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be nasty. It can be nice and simple and relaxing and not bloody. And I had to relearn that. I had to relearn simple touching and simple touch. And I know some people in my life are very frustrated that I'm not a very, not physical person, but, like, I'm not very, like, I'm a hugger, so, like, I hug, but I can't, like, I don't want, okay, I guess I'm gonna throw, like, cuddling. You know how some people love to cuddle? I haven't learned to accept that kind of touch, that it's nice, and it I know it's frustrating for some people in my life, like, that I can come off very rigid, and some people, will never understand that. But when you have been violently attacked and ripped apart multiple occasions, multiple times, for multiple years, it's a lot to rebuild yourself and deal with that trauma. And I had to work through that whole, like, hating myself and that despair and, yes, relearning the simple touches, but I haven't fully accepted that still touching can be good, right? Like, even a prolonged hug, that scares me. Or, like, this is gonna sound, this is gonna sound terrible, but, like, when somebody wants to hug me, it's like, why do you want to hug me? Like, not like, oh, like, I don't want to hug. It's just like, you want to hug from me, like, you accept that I'm a nice person type of thing. I know that's really fucked up, thinking. And don't worry, I'm working on it, guys. It's just when you have been beaten down and destroyed and trying to rebuild those pieces, and it's frustrating and I hate it, guys. I hate it. But like so I have to feel really safe with that person to allow to get that, I don't want to say physicality because that sounds very sexual, but I'm not even, that's a whole other fucking video that I'll do. But like just into the realm of like hanging out and being relaxed and like, you know, hugging and whatnot. I have to feel very safe with that person and have, I don't want to say connection, but like a serious, like, not bond either, because that kind of sounds, it's hard to explain, but like, you know, building that trust, right? So when that trust gets destroyed, it's not like a normal person can shrug it off and like, you know, and be okay. I get ripped apart, right? And I made a video on this a few weeks ago, that there was this huge fight that happened between some friends. And I mean, it's great now. I mean, everybody's on a good page and we're all honky-dory and stuff. It's just that, and I trust them. It's just that I don't trust them to the level that I used to. And that scares me because it feels like I'm starting from ground zero again. And I don't want to start from ground zero, but it feels like everything has been shut down. So like a simple touch or whatnot, it tenses. And not that I want to vomit again, but it's just like, will your touch or your words hurt again? That type of thing, right? Because I was so mentally abused too, and emotionally abused, that, again, dealing with PTSD, when something massive, like a huge fight or a disagreement happens, to some it might seem very simple and easy to kind of get over. To me, not that it seems like my world is ending, it's just like that whole hurt and pain starts to like not eat me alive, but it's just kind of there, like, see, you know, that person hurt you, like you, and then like, you know, I hear my abuser's voices come back into my head, like a trigger, like, oh, you're worthless, you're trash, like they didn't love you, they didn't trust you, they, you know, they're always going to pick somebody over you, you're not that important to them, right? And so it's a whole lot of processing to do, and sometimes I just don't want to talk about it, you know. And then when you're like pressuring somebody to talk about it or like to be okay, and then they're freaking out because they don't know what to do, and then it's just like this whole constant, like, you're getting nagged or you're getting question after question, like, are we okay? Is everything okay? And like, oh, what can we do better? Like, we have to talk about this like right now. And it's just, it can be a little overwhelming sometimes, right? And frustrating to try to get out and explain, to be like, you know, and it's not on them, it's on me. It's like, it's a lot, you know. It could be a lot of triggering from different angles, and not to say that like I turn into a whole like ball of wet fur. I do not. I try to, I'm a very logical thinker, so I try to be like, okay, how can we work on this? How can we fix this? How can you fix yourself, Jess? Because like, come on, right? And I kind of put that pressure on myself to be what this person wants me to be, and I can't do that anymore. Because after this last breakdown, internally, I realized that, you know what, if they can't love me for me, if they can't respect me for me, then, like, you know what, they have to decide what they want in their life. You know, I can't, it's exhausting to be so many people for so many different people. You know, and it's just like, you know, I know some people in my life are frustrated because they can't see me a lot as well, because, you know, COVID's a thing, and I have elders in my life, and I can't just go out and be a human being, right? They have to respect that. And yes, is it frustrating? Yes, it is. But, you know, if they're willing to work with you and respect you, then, you know, that will help with the PTSD, you know. It's a whole bunch of crap all rolled into one, and it is never an easy explanation. There we go. But kind of, this is just a tipping point, guys. This is just a tipping point. I'm going to be diving into, excuse me, I'm going to be diving deeper into this, and we're going to explore different areas. This is just like an overhaul of everything, but I will be going deeper into my PTSD and explaining and walking through everything and just my experience with it. But this was just a big ass summary, and then we're gonna break it down. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to my long ass video. I hope you guys are all staying safe, but of course, remember, feel free to ask questions, start, you know, conversations with people, hang out. I am gathering Q&A questions that I'm going to be doing a video on my birthday, because I thought, hey, why not do an old-fashioned Q&A on your birthday? So that is coming out Tuesday on the 22nd, but I'll probably be filming it on the 21st and then just posting it on the 22nd. So feel free to ask questions. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a part 1 and part 2 Q&A, depending on how long it is. But besides that, guys, I'm probably going to roll out another video over the weekend. Yeah, anyways, strap in, guys. We are heading in for some interesting conversations and videos. And yeah, but feel free to drop topics too if you guys want me to talk about something. But like I said, this is just a tipping point. Anyways, guys, remember, never give up, always keep fighting. You're enough, and you're very much loved. Until the next video, love you guys.